You know that feeling when you open your inbox and find another Google review from a happy client? Well, we feel the same way when our listeners leave a review on Apple Podcasts for our show.
It's honestly so helpful because reviews give you the words straight from your client's mouth that impacts the way you run your business going forward. And the same is true for us.
Yeah, when we read your reviews, it helps us understand what you love and what you want more of, which makes the show better in return. And really, everyone wins here.
So before you listen to today's episode, could you take 1 minute and leave us a 5-star review and tell us one thing you're loving about the show? We promise we'll be here ready to chat when you're done.
And after leaving that review, make sure you screenshot it and send it to support@modernagentsocialclub.com with your mailing address because we have a fun little surprise for you as a way to say thank you.
XOXO, the marketing girls. I have a quick but major Summer I Turned Pretty update.
Is a photo dump. I hate the word photo dump.
I know.
Dump.
Me too. Okay, you could call it a photo drop.
It's all a big circle of life.
It really is. The content circle of life.
Yes, I won't bust out into Lion King, the musical. How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are 2 agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go. Good morning, Kayla.
Hey, Chelsea. Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Girls podcast. How are you doing today?
I caught Henry's little cold, so I'm doing okay, but I have all my reinforcements. I have my water, my tea, my peppermint oil. I had eye masks on prior, so hopefully I'm like rejuvenated enough to be on YouTube.
Yes. Well, you look fantastic. I look back at the first several episodes that we recorded, and I had that awful cough for like months, like literally from January to April. And I look back on some of those episodes and I'm like, I can't even listen to myself. I can't even look at myself. Like I felt so miserable, but like the show must go on.
Show must go on. I always think of like Broadway performers and I'm like, how do you do this if you feel like this, like how are you continuing?
Yeah. Oh, I know. I can't even imagine. I'm so glad we don't have that high of pressure of a job. That's
seriously.
Sure.
Yes. Hey, yeah, we get to hit record and stop. And Adrian, please edit this out. I feel like we have to just start really quickly. I have a quick but major Summer I Turned Pretty update.
Yes, let's hear it.
I'm officially Team Conrad.
Okay.
I'm just as crazy as Belly with my back and forth. But my opinion on him is that he's too young. And now I'm like, I understand what her mom feels, but I just feel like the show is directing this. So I would be really curious to see how the books go and how when like a book just gets deeper into like the mindset. I just would love, I wish I read the books first to have that comparison. Cause in a show, I'm definitely Team Conrad now just because he's mature, he's more emotionally ready and available. And Jer is just being such an idiot. And I'm just like, what's a cheater? Always a cheater is in my head. So
yes. In some ways, he's acting like you would think Conrad would act. Like he's acting like he's been spoiled and favored by his parents all these years, which it seems like that's how they want Conrad to appear. But somehow he's like stepped away from this family and been like the black sheep in the best way. And I think, again, Jeremiah, I think people are dogging on him like crazy. I don't think he's actually being a terrible person, but he is selfish. But also, aren't most boys at that age selfish too? So
yeah, that's the thing. And I think one of his biggest flaws right now is because he just so badly wants to impress his dad, which I also feel like I get. Like, who wants to disappoint their parents? And finally, he's like working with him and he's the one kind of in that world with him, and Conrad's doing his total own thing. So I can see that happening. Like, my dad was nothing like his dad, so I can't imagine having a dad who treats me that way and treats his kids that way. And, I could see that create, childhood trauma. It's flashing red.
Yes. But also leave and cleave, baby. Like, you need to like part from your parents and start your own family and do your own thing. I mean, I felt like that is one thing I feel like my parents really instilled in us as we were like dating and getting engaged and all of that was just like, hey, like we're always here for you, but we're no longer like your source for all of these things because like now it is you two and you two are going to make your own decision. And it's like, it's hard to do at the beginning. But then after a while, you're really grateful that you figured it out.
For sure. Yeah, that's so true. And I feel like some parents do the opposite where they're like, I'm going to grasp on so tightly because I don't
Yes.
want you to grow up, you know? So it's
Yes. I just don't
interesting. It's
understand it.
so crazy how, like, even if you don't think that your family and childhood and everything shapes you so much.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like it's like very obvious in a TV show where they pull all the things to make it come to life.
Yes, yes, only showing things in a different light. Well, I think it's a great update. We did talk about talking about Taylor Swift at some point in time, but I also feel like today's episode is going to be good and we want more details on Taylor Swift before we continue to talk about her. But I'm very excited to dive deep into her whole world and marketing and what that has to do with us too. So that'll be
T
fun.
Swift has been all over the Instagram and in every email as a reference point, and I'm like, not right now. Like, I don't want to be one of the ones that are saying the same thing over and over. So
Yes,
we will talk about Taylor later.
I was going to say more, and I've just decided to save it because I think you might be surprised what I'm going to say.
Ooh.
I know. So, okay. Today, you guys, we are going to talk about the monthly Modern Agent checklist. So, last week, or maybe it was the week before, it was the week before, 2 weeks ago, we talked about kind of giving yourself an audit, right? And actually, like, let's look at the things that you have been doing and let's ask yourself, like, are you actually doing the things that are going to move the needle in your business? And hopefully, it was not a discouraging episode, but hopefully it was something that you were like, actually, now I have my glasses on. Now I no longer have blinders on and I'm able to see what I've been missing. But also, it can leave you feeling like, but what do I do? Like, what do I actually do? I know I need a brand. I know I need, to be having conversations and all that, but what does that actually look like? Enter the Modern Agent monthly checklist.
We hope that this checklist doesn't give you more to do, but our goal is to give you a better way to do it so that you have a clear, focused vision of here's what I'm going to check off every month. And we were talking about like, when do we use checklists in our lives and whatever. And here's just like my really simple way of thinking about it is every time we go to Florida, I have to make a checklist for all the things that we pack and all the Henry things and whatever. And finally, this was like 2 years ago. Mark's like, just save the list this time. Like, you like delete it as you check it off. And now I'm like, okay, so I have everything on this list and I might add or subtract, but it's here, it's ready to go and I can just follow it. And really what that does is like, I'm not a type A person. I feel like I want to be type A in my brain, but I'm really type B is how I would best describe it. And so having a checklist or like, this is what I'm going to do, it feels very type A. And that's why I probably never saved my travel checklist and packing list before. But what it really does is like, it doesn't matter what kind of brain you are. It just clears room to give you energy to focus on what actually matters. So you're not worried about like, what should I do this week? Oh, should I do that? Should I follow this trend? Should I jump over here? Should I jump over there? It's giving you this clear focused, like, here's what it is. This is what I'm going to do. I don't need to think about anything else. And I was actually looking up like, what's a good metaphor for this? And the metaphor that I came up with is like, think of it like a recipe card. Like even the best chefs in the world, they write down their recipes, not because they don't know it, but because they want to save the energy to actually like make the dish really good and not try to like, wait, what was that again? Or like, what spice did I use? Or what did I do differently? They're literally cutting down the time they're spending because they have their go-to. This is it. And I know some chefs have lots of recipes memorized, but you know what I mean? Like they're just having this like simplified version of, I don't need to remember all this and try to like keep it all in my head. It's like, here it is. It's right here.
Yeah.
Like that's what this checklist is for you to not only keep you from getting distracted, but to keep you doing things that are going to help you see results faster instead of just like spinning your wheels, throwing the content spaghetti at the wall. Like, let's not do that anymore. So we actually shared this with our members last month and we're giving you your own little special version. Even if you are a member and you're listening, this is going to be a good refresher to come back to if you ever get like sidetracked or you just need to be like, okay, what should I be doing again? Like what what are the things?
Yes, especially in a world where every time that you log into nearly anything, you can see another idea, or maybe I should do this, or this agent's doing this, or I like how this guy, leveraged this trend or whatever. And it's like, none of those things are bad, but it's easy to lose focus on what matters. And in a world where like we have enough things on our plate, right? Just like in our personal lives, but then also like with our clients and like just keeping transactions afloat, we don't need to be wasting time thinking about like, well, what should I post on social media? Or like, did I do enough this month? Why don't I have any clients this month? That kind of thing. So our very first thing is to just have a media list, which is something that we give our members every month. But what we give them is we give them like 9 to 12 pictures of like photos that they can recreate of themselves in their towns, of their desks, all of those things. Like for the girls who just need like a visual, like, okay, I know that I need pictures of myself, but like, what is that? Like, was it Ron Burgundy? He's like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, it's kind of like that, right? Like for
All
the
of us
girls,
on social media.
all of us, none of us know what we're doing. None of us know how to sit or pose or anything, but we give them like literally exact photos to like replicate. Plus, we also have our B-roll list that's available to anyone. Anyone can go to www.modernagentsocialclub.com/B-roll. Does anyone say www anymore?
I
Or
was
did
just
I
wondering
just...
that when you said it. I'm like, do we have to type that?
I don't know. I have no idea, but today is www.
It's just radio DJ mode all the time.
I'm always on. I'm just channeling my inner Amy Brown. Um, anyway, you guys, you can all get that list. But what we tell you to do though, I mean, that is like meant to be a B-roll list, but you can also snap photos while you were doing the B-roll. The whole point is to give yourself this bank of content that you can turn to, so that the moment you have an idea or the moment you have a moment where you can like put together something, you're not also scrambling, or you're not thinking to yourself like, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I haven't even like washed my hair today, or I'm not dressed, anymore, whatever. Like, it gives you no excuses because you have this bank of content. You don't need hundreds and thousands of photos, but if you had a few fresh photos and B-roll clips every month, I think it would just save you so much time and like what you said, like save you that headspace, right? Save you that energy.
It also just gives you more confidence when you have a fresh photo of yourself. And, not that you can't repeat that photo. Honestly, if you followed the media checklist a few months in a row, you could probably take a few months off unless there was something specific you wanted to get. But if you're like, I don't have anything, I really need photos of myself, this is a good place to start. And to give you some examples of like what is on the media list so that you can recreate this right now, one of them is simply a girl sitting, sipping out of her coffee mug. So if you don't really drink coffee, this could be your wine glass. It could be your green juice. It could be your Stanley, or I'm kind of over Stanley lately and I have switched to the hydro jug
That's
because I
funny.
can close the straw.
That's really smart. I busted out my old Stanley today, mostly because it's now football season and I have my coach's wipe sticker on here. So I have to like represent.
I've had that Stanley for 6 months.
I know, I left it at Chelsea's house and
I'm allergic to the post office. So that's like a simple photo. It could go with anything. I mean, like it could go with a post that's more real estate geared. It could go with a day in the life post. It could go with a monthly photo dump, which we're going to talk about. It could go with so many things. And don't be afraid to use them again, because then they become repetitive. Like, oh, I saw that picture. Like it starts to become recognizable.
Yep.
Another one we have is, this is like, it's a flat lay of like an outfit essentially. I mean, this is just kind of showing, behind the scenes of real estate life. Like, what are you wearing? And there's like an iPad there and jewelry and like your little essentials. So for you, that could be like, it doesn't have to be a full outfit, but it could be your laptop. It could be your lip gloss. It could, like, what are you taking with you to go?
A lockbox, a
A
sweater.
lockbox. We just did a Modern Agent content shoot and I did the whole like drink tray, like picture that's trending, and I put so many different variations of things in it, and it was fun to do, like eye masks and a lockbox and a coffee and a key that says welcome home, like all these little things. So members can see those on our new website in the middle to end of September. Okay, another one is that I love this one. It's a selfie, but your face isn't in it. So she's kind of like looking down and has a hat on. So if you have coming up in the cooler months, it could be a winter hat that you have on, but it's like you're in it and it's you, but it doesn't always have to be you smiling at the camera. And that's like a good example of that still can feel like you're part of it, but you don't need to be like camera ready necessarily.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, the whole point of this is to feel more confident when you show up and to have fresh images but that are still on brand. So when like the colors are still pretty consistent, or when you are consistently in them, or when it's your desk instead of some random photo from dupe photos or whatever, which we love, but that's not a replacement for like the thing that only you can offer, right? Several months ago, you and I met up and did like a B-roll shoot at a house, and we're still using, we still haven't even scratched the surface on how many like
No.
clips and photos and stuff that we took. Now that was like for an entire day, but like if that saved us months, like we're not like, oh no, I have to get this clip, or I have to, clean up my office so I can take a video of me doing this or whatever.
You know what's so funny is if you want to see these photos, if you go to our Instagram, the Modern Agent Instagram, and you click on in our story highlights, there's a fire emoji and then advice, like fire advice.
Well, there you go.
If you click on that, you can see some of them. And here's an example of how we use these is we'll use them as the background of our stories when we do our weekly marketing therapy questions so that our stories look consistent and on brand. We're not just
Mm-hmm.
grabbing random photos every time or having to take a photo, or sometimes we're face to cam and giving advice that way, but we kind of mix that in. But regardless, we keep using those photos. And someone recently said like, "Oh my gosh, is this your house? It's just so cozy." And I'm
Yeah.
like, they probably think it's my house because I use these photos all the time. Like, how could it not be? But they were all taken in a matter of probably 6 hours, maybe 8. So yeah, it's immediately having a go-to day to get some photos of yourself, some B-roll is going to give you so much confidence to create content that has you in it and your town in it, and not have to feel like, oh my gosh, well, I don't have that photo. And
Yep.
like another thing to just remember is that if you get a content idea from us or you're using the membership content, it doesn't have to be like an exact replica. It like put your spin on it. Like if we're talking about going to the pool and you don't really go to the pool, then maybe for you it's the library and
Yeah.
you take a picture next time you're at the library. Like we don't need exact photos of like every single thing in your town. You're not the like digital mayor. You
Right.
are the real estate girl who's bringing people behind the scenes of her life. So,
Yeah. And that's how you make your content look different from everybody else's, right? Because
yep.
everybody should be just doing what they like to do. Which kind of brings us to checklist item number 2, which is some kind of monthly signature post. So this is how I first really caught on to what these signature posts really were. Have you ever found an account and you like saw one video or like a carousel that you liked, and then you like scroll back through and then you kind of find one that's kind of similar, and then you find yourself continuing to scroll back and looking for more, and then you find yourself sending them to like your sister or your friend and saying like, oh my gosh, follow this girl, she always shares X. Like that is signature series style content. And so for us, like behind the scenes of the membership, we were like, how can we give our members signature series style content that is mostly done for them, right? They always have to add their little twist, but like, how can we do that? And so we've done that in a few different ways with a few different like repeatable type of posts. One of them most recently being our digital magazine. So we've given people, like all of our members get a template each month of a digital magazine that's like meant to reflect their city, their life, their favorites, their market, all the things, and they can post that on their Instagram every month. But it doesn't always have to be that complicated, right? It can be a lot more like simplified, but just something repeatable that people can start to remember you by.
It's like an anchor piece of content. If you think of it as, okay, the month is brand new. My first piece of content is going to be this signature thing that I repeat every single month. And you may even get into something where you repeat something weekly, or you might even get into like, okay, this is really fun for me to do. It's easy. I feel like my audience and my community is really liking it. You might repeat it for like a longer period of time and call it a series, which is basically just you talk about the same topic for a specific amount of time. There is no deadline on that. But for example, I just sent you this, Kayla. Carrie Locker, she's known for like breastfeeding tips and stuff. She just is doing a chill mom challenge, and I found it on day 3. And so every day she's sharing a chill mom tip. And I said, like, this is so fun to consume and it's so good. Like, let's do a chill social media challenge. So maybe that will
Yes.
be coming someday, but or something like that. Just like it was so fun to like, I'm like, I want to know what today's thing of the day is to make my life easy. But you find yourself binging it. You find yourself seeing like, oh, what else do they share? Here I am on her Amazon storefront 3 minutes later. Like it makes you like, or it doesn't make you. It like naturally forces someone to deep dive into you and what you're sharing. And it's not like this game of like, oh, please like my post. It's like, I cannot help but sit there and consume your post because it is
Yes.
so attention grabbing to me. And especially when you have a signature post that incorporates on some level like your local community, your local real estate market, your take on things, or your recommendations. People want to know that because no one else can share that.
Exactly. The other thing that I love about signature series style content like this is it keeps you from just jumping all over the place. And we've all seen it and we've all been guilty of it, right? But like we'll audit someone's Instagram and it'll be like new construction, my local favorite, buyer tips, luxury listing, house for a flipper, like all this random stuff. And even if the graphics look beautiful, even if they are in the content, even if they've added their personality, it's still none of it feels cohesive. None of it feels like it really is supposed to like melt together. That's what signature series style content does. So it keeps you from posting randomly and like what we always say, like throwing spaghetti at the wall. You don't want to do that, but it actually helps like make this delicious like meal where all the, speaking of spaghetti, the noodles and the sauce and everything are all perfectly melted together with the cheese sprinkled on top. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm hungry.
It is
It's
lunchtime for
lunchtime.
you.
Yes, it is.
It makes your content less random and scattered and way more intentional. Like, I know exactly what I'm going to get here. And the
Yeah.
reason we want people to feel that way is so that they want to come back because the last thing we want to do is alienate them where they're like, nope, this isn't for me. Nope, this isn't for me. Because if they
Right.
aren't interested, they're not going to see you and keep you top of mind. And that's why we have an email list, which we'll get to. But that is just one thing to think about is why would someone want to come back here? Like, why would they want to sit down with me and have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee and like at my account? Like, I want you to think of your account like the party and someone's coming back and they want to stay. They're coming inside. They're like, yep, I'm coming to the next one. Like, have you ever been to a party where you're like, I'm never going to that again?
Uh-huh.
Like, wait, you don't want your account to be that. We want it to be like the party everyone's talking about. It for
Yeah.
some reason reminds me of the Taylor Jenkins Reid book, Malibu Rising. Have you ever read that? Where
A
it's
long
like
time ago. I'm trying to remember what.
celebrity parties and it's like this
Yes.
big thing. Like that's I couldn't not bring that up when I was saying that because it was in my head. But this pairs really well, honestly. If you haven't listened to episode 25, the soundbite strategy, why
Yeah.
repetition builds your brand. That's what signature series can really help you refine and figure out because then you're not random and scattered, but you know exactly what you're talking about in a way that you can repeat it and still keep it interesting and fun, but it just makes sense. It'd be like
Yeah.
if you were watching like a series and all of a sudden it took a complete drastic turn and you're like, "Wait, I thought this was like a thriller about like the hunting wives or I
Right.
don't know." And all of a sudden there's like it's like an ER episode and you're like, "Wait, what happened?" Like that's what it feels like
Yes.
when your content is all over the place. Like you don't want it to be that. You want it to be where they're coming back to continually watch that same series that they signed up for.
Yeah. Nailed it. Another really easy signature series that is actually our checklist item number 3 is a photo dump. I hate the word photo dump.
I know. Me
Dump.
too. Okay, you could call it a photo drop. You could call it
Yes. Oh, you could call
car
it just about anything.
a
Yeah.
custom carousel.
Yes, I love calling it like receipts. So like the weekly receipts or like my monthly receipts or whatever, just like proof that I lived my life, right?
Or your like your recent camera roll. My camera roll
Yes.
lately. Like it could, I mean, name it whatever you want. Put it in ChatGPT, it'll give you a million ideas. Yeah, this is such a good one to do. And I actually love you could either do this two different ways, a million different ways, but you could do it at the beginning of a month and kind of say, like, here's last month. Or I kind of like to do it at the end of a month. And then you're like like let's say it's August 25th. You could do it for the month of
Yeah,
August, right?
right.
And kind of just share like some behind the scenes. What I love about this kind of a post too, it's the easiest post to implement the content cocktail that we talk about.
Exactly.
One part real estate, one part local, splash of personality. You can easily get all of that into a carousel post of photos from your phone. Like just seriously look back. And if you are also in the habit of being in your stories consistently where you're documenting things throughout your week every week, you're going to have content. This doesn't have to be perfect professional photos. It just
Right.
needs to be content that you can share as a post, right? And give some context to it.
Yeah. The other things I like to look at too, instead of doing this even monthly, you could do this more often, but like different ways to look at it is, yes, there's like a monthly recap, right, of like whatever everything I did, but also just like a day in the life. Like you can snap photos for one day and share them at the end of the night. You could do like a roundup of things I love or things I'm loving lately, my recent screenshots or things I've pinned on Pinterest or things I've saved. Like it doesn't have to necessarily be photos from your life, but those kind of things just give insight. And you might feel like, okay, this is fluffy, but think about the people. Like there are people that I just really like their style, or I like I don't, just whatever it is about them, right? I want to know what they're saving. I want to know who they're following. I want to know where they're buying their clothes from. I want to know what they're feeding their kids. Like I want to know all of those things. And it's that the thing that's going to make me buy with them? Not necessarily, but it makes me think of them all the time. So they stay top of mind. There are so many people that I follow that I have like looked at some of their content before and I've been like, oh, that's so good. And I followed them. And then they kind of drift away from that, or they haven't continued to stay in my radar. And so then I don't even remember like what their name is. But if they would be posting content like this, and yes, there's some things that we just don't see because of the algorithm, but like posts like that, those are the things that are starting like a conversation starters. And those are the things that are going to get you in community with people. Even like, it's so funny. We had our first like football meal kickoff the other night. And it was so funny. Like I literally like finished posting something and I was like, all right, kids, we got to go. And we got out there. As soon as I got there, one of my friends there said like, oh, I loved that you did this in your stories today. That was so funny. And I thought like I literally posted that like 30 minutes ago. But like she's never said anything to me on Instagram. I didn't even know that she really even had Instagram. She didn't post anything. But like people are paying attention. And so when you are doing any kind of posts like this or whatever, like it just makes you more memorable. People are thinking of you and like consuming your content.
Do you know who Tanya Rad is?
I don't.
She is on the Scrubbing In podcast with Becca Tilley from The Bachelor, and she got married recently. Anyways, her whole brand is like being the modern woman. At one point, I had a modern woman sweatshirt, and she just posted the other day, here's like a perfect example of like a photo dump that's not that. It's modern woman Monday quotes I live, liked, and saved lately. And it's like literally screenshots of quotes that she has saved. And it's just so simple. It's like a peek into her personality. If you like her whole modern woman vibe, you're probably going to like the quotes. And then she branded it to herself. Instead of just saying quotes I saved lately, she said modern woman Monday quotes I've lived, loved, and saved lately. So like whatever your brand is, you could make it a spin on local. You could make it a spin on like maybe your whole thing is like normalizing regular houses and you make it a spin on that. Like there are so many ways you can make it like really unique to you,
right?
Instead of just a regular like camera roll dump. But regardless, just know you can get that content cocktail mixed in there like with the mix of photos, the mix of screenshots, the mix of whatever it is.
Absolutely. Okay, number 4, we have shareable local post.
Yes. Okay. So shareable local posts, we create these for ourselves every Friday on our Modern Agent Instagram. And ours aren't local. Ours are shareable agent posts. And every single Friday, we get a question that from someone or multiple people saying, do we have these in the membership, or do you offer these in the membership? And what is our answer?
We give you a version of them. And not every single one, but we have been trying to include more and more shareable posts for agents. So what those usually look like is it allows them to still drip their personality in, right? So what we're talking about is like pictures that are like typically like really beautiful photos, or sometimes we'll take like celebrity photos or like scenes from like The Parent Trap, but then we'll add text over top that's very relatable for us, for agents, right? Like we are sharing things that agents are like, oh my gosh, that's me. Or like, I had to send this to like my broker or my real estate bestie or whatever. Cause like, we just had this conversation. It's getting them thinking about that. We're not posting like funny marketing, work from home, podcasting type content. We're posting content that makes our ideal follower and our ideal member say like, oh my gosh, I feel seen. So that,
like, here's an example.
Yeah.
This summer I wrote off 37 iced coffees. The summer my kids saw their mom grow her real estate business. The summer I helped clients navigate this market. The summer I did real estate my own way. The summer my followers told their friends about me. Yes, you could post this as an agent, but there's also a way to post it. And that's if you posted that exact thing as an agent, I think it works. Like, it's behind the scenes of like agent life. But if you want to make it even better, or you want to make it speak to your ideal follower and you want it to get shared in your community, you can put a local spin on it. So we created a
Yes.
local version for members that they could put their own spin on. And we gave different examples that kind of was that same post, but highlighted local spots. So, like, the
Yeah.
summer I wore out my local pool membership, the summer I drank margs at, and then you would share a local spot, or you could switch that to wine or pina coladas or sparkling water. Oh, the summer that ice cream from this local spot became a food group. The summer lake name became my happy place. So, like, you see how like those local spins, like someone in your community would see it and then they'd want to share it or send it to their
Yes.
friend or be like, "Oh my gosh, me too." Or like they see themselves in it. Whereas like your dream clients, your the person that's going to hire you to sell their house, buy a house with you, refer you to their friends, they're not going to see the summer I wrote off 37 iced coffees and be like, "Oh my god, me too. That's so me."
Right.
They're going to be like, "Oh, haha, scroll." Like,
Yes.
and that's the difference. Do you ever get to the end of a podcast episode and feel like, "Ugh, now I have to wait until next Tuesday for more"?
Are you asking me or our listeners?
I mean, I was asking our listeners, but now I'm curious. Do you feel that way too?
Honestly, I might. I mean, if it weren't for Modern Agent Social Club, because members get to be in the middle of marketing conversations like this every single day.
That's true. For our members, it's basically Marketing Girl Summer.
Exactly. Like, sun's out, strategy's out.
So if you love the podcast, maybe you've already started trying a few things and you're seeing results, but just imagine how much more momentum you could build inside the club.
Because the podcast is where we talk strategy, but inside Modern Agent Social Club, like, of course, you're going to get great content, as I do say so myself. But more than that, you're going to get a results-driven marketing plan.
Carousels and reel prompts and emails, it's all great, but how do they all work together to make you the real estate go-to girl? That's why we provide you with an entire marketing system so you don't have to figure out how all these pieces connect.
So if you're tired of waiting a whole week between episodes and you're tired of DIYing your real estate marketing, make this your most fun and productive summer yet.
And join us today at modernagentsocialclub.com for your first official Marketing Girl Summer. Now back to the show.
Let's just say it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You are allowed to post things just about your life, just to give them a little bit of insight. But if you're wanting this, like, quote unquote viral reaction where people are like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait." And if you want it to really bring in local followers, if you want it to make people be like, "Oh my gosh, you got to follow her because she always shares whatever," then it needs to be about your ideal client and not about yourself. I'm really loving, I don't have it yet on my personal account, but I'm loving the repost feature that Instagram recently added, because it allows you to still share content. Like, we had a lot of people do that this last week with our Friday posts. People were able to share our like Taylor Swift thing, like repost it, but it doesn't show up in like their main feed. It shows up, I think if I'm right, when people are scrolling through, they can see like, oh, like Kayla reposted this, but it shows up in a different part of their feed as well. So it still lets you see and like show your personality, show a little bit about your life without making it like confusing content that has nothing to do with your audience.
Do you know what I love about this too? Adam Mosseri just said this in an Instagram Q&A. He said that when that happens, like, let's say someone reposts your photo in your community or your post because they are like, "Oh my gosh, I love this." When that's in the feed and someone sees like, "Oh, like Sally shared Chelsea's post," or whatever, if you click on it, it goes to the original poster's account.
Oh, okay.
So if someone shared our Summer I Turned Local whatever post and one of their followers clicks to look at it more or whatever, it goes to the original creator, which is perfect because that means the
Yes.
original creator gets credit. It's kind of like on Facebook, if you share something in your
Right.
feed, it would say like your name and then right below it is like where that came from, which is like that's what you want, right? And that's probably why they did that repost feature. I feel like because I think people are sharing less post to stories than they used to, and
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, I don't know the exact answer on that, but I just feel like it's happening less and less. But I feel like that's why they did this feature, because it allows, like, it's kind of giving the feed, your Instagram feed, a little bit more action, because stories are so heavily active that they're like, how
Yeah.
can we bring these feeds to life a little bit? So I think it's a cool feature.
Yeah, for sure. So we recommend at least At least once a month, do one. I love the idea. This past summer, we did a whole thing with our members about like the summer I turned local. And we really were like, let's grow your local following. And we had members who got insane results from that, which was so exciting. But we really revved up the shareable local posts that we gave them in the membership to have them customized, because those were the driver behind a lot of that. That was a lot of like the conversation behind like, oh, what is she doing? Why is she posting all of these things? Now her account's kind of fun to follow. It makes everything else that they do make more sense because of those posts. So, but you don't necessarily have to share one once a week. I think if it's, especially if it's like, if you're funny and if you're like, or if you're, a big Taylor Swift fan, or if there's, Freaky Friday or Freakier Friday, I think is coming out now again, or maybe it just did. If there's things like that that are like kind of pop culture, or like things in your community even that you're like, oh yeah, this is funny, whatever, just share it. But I would try to at least share one once a month just to get your people like remembering that that's what you share, and it gets them like talking about you and remembering you.
They don't, just one more note on this. They don't always have to be pop culture either. I know not everyone is a pop culture person, but it can be like, like the Sunday Scaries vibes where it's like, mentally, I'm here. And it's like at a closing with a bottle of wine in the car for tonight. Like that would be one we would share for agents.
Yes.
Yours could be mentally, I'm here at local coffee shop with my bestie, or,
Right.
like that's the switch, the like who am I talking to? Would this person connect and relate? I wrote this down for this one. I said, like, this is kind of like your community currency, like
Oh
having
yeah.
these posts, like that's going to keep you like active in your market in like a really fun, relatable way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a thing that builds community, right? It gathers all the like-minded people, and like that's what, and maybe they're not all like sharing things in your comments or whatever, but like they're the ones that are like, "Oh yeah, you follow her too? Like did you see the one where she did this?" Like those are the conversations they're having behind the scenes. So naturally later on, those same people are talking about like, ugh, my kitchen, or like, I can't wait to, save up and buy a house over here. They're also going to be like, oh yeah, well, she posted something about this, like it's all a big circle of life.
It really is the
I,
content circle of life.
yes, I won't bust out into Lion King, the musical, but I will go on to number 5, which is include a call to action. There's so many different ways you can do this. How would you start this, Chelsea?
So I would pick one of these for the month because it's going to help make everything you post very intentional. So when we say call to action, I actually teach that this is part of the content cocktail. I say you garnish your piece of content with a call to action and your mini bio. So when I say that, what that means is simply having, for example, an end slide on a carousel that introduces a quick little blurb of who you are and then what you want them to do next. And this can always switch because you could say like, maybe right now you want to focus on getting people to book a buyer consult and you call it a mini consult. So you say book a mini consult is your call to action that you incorporate. Even if it's a local spin post, you could add that as your real estate pop. Now you just brought that content cocktail into that local post. You add that to the end and then you add your little blurb about who you are. Like, hey, I'm Chelsea, city name real estate girl who loves books, houses, and martinis.
She sounds fun.
Yes. And that's how you end every carousel for the month. So like pick
Yeah.
one, and you could use the same carousel inside for months in a row. But if you have an intention that you're trying to direct people to, or maybe it's fall and you want to really work on growing your email list. And so you are going to promote a fall guide because your focus is I want to get more eyeballs on my content into my email list where I can show up one-on-one in their inbox. And so every end slide focuses on, hey, your fall guide is available, but you still have your little mini blurb that tells people who you are really quickly. So that real estate piece is still there. It's not random and like you're a local blogger, but you
Yeah.
are the agent who made a local guide of your favorite places and things to do in the fall.
I love that. Okay, the girl that I like to follow, Pretty on Fridays, she shares an email, and I think her email is now like part of Substack or whatever, but every week she'll share like a little like sneak peek of like, this is what's going to be on my email list this week, or this is what I'm sharing with my email list. And then there's always a call to action, like, do you want to join? And then she always shares like, it's live, and then like, do you want a copy of it? Like, there's always those little things, and it's made it like, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying, oh, she always does this. Like, that's what we want people to say about you. If you can get people talking like that about you, you've done it. Like, you have
Yep.
landed, and it's only going to be a snowball effect from there, right?
When you become part of their group chat and their dinner party conversation and their DMs to each other, you will have more business than you could ever imagine.
Yes. Yeah, and it's not overnight, right? But it's the snowball effect. It'll do it.
Okay, I'll give it one like full example, not rattled off my head. So here's an example. If we haven't met yet, I'm Chelsea Peterson, your no fluff, always honest real estate go-to girl in and around Lake Country. I'm offering 5 mini consults this month to help you get all your questions answered. No pressure, just real talk. Spots fill fast, so DM me and let's get a date penciled in. That's like one example. If you use it on every single post, will someone comment and say, I want to schedule one? I don't know, but they might continually be reminded that that's how they
Yes.
could take the first step with you. And when they're ready, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to
Yeah.
DM you about. Another one is, hey, I'm Chelsea Peterson, a Lake Country mama and your real estate go-to girl. Follow along as I share life in Lake Country as a real estate agent and self-proclaimed bookworm, and comment email club to join my never salesy, always fun monthly newsletter. So that one's pointing to an email list. You could curate your end slide to kind of match your post, and maybe you have like 3 different ones that you cycle through. But if you also really have a very specific thing you want to happen in this month, let that be your focus. Let that
Yeah.
be like, again, on your checklist. This month I'm doing a fall guide to grow my email list. This month I'm really focusing on just sharing behind the scenes of my email so people join my email list. Like, that's my focus, because maybe you want clients, but you know that you need more people in your database to continually get more clients over the next 12 months. So that's going to be your focal point, focus.
I love it.
This
Okay.
kind of goes right into the next
I was
one.
going to say, it kind of pairs together, a weekly story strategy.
Okay, so weekly story strategy to repeat. Beyond this is like beyond using your stories to kind of bring people behind the scenes of your day and things like that. Once a week, if you can say every Tuesday, I'm going to do this, and you put it on your calendar so that you definitely do it every Tuesday. Pick a part of your business to share behind the scenes of. Could be a question that a client asked you. It could be an email that you got. You could even like screenshot the text or screenshot, even if it's not a question, it could be your client saying like, I think this is the one, let's write an offer. Or I love that house. Can you schedule a showing for Thursday, or whatever it is?
Yep.
And what you're going to do on the following slide is address how you help that person, or how someone would work with you based on that question or that DM or that email, or just you talking about like, hey, here's what my mini consults look like. It doesn't even have to be a question from someone. But
Yeah.
then on your next slide, you're going to say like, here's how it works. You reach out, we pick a date, we meet at a local coffee shop or on Zoom. It's 25 minutes, get all your questions answered, and then we'll set you up on a home search or whatever it is. But you're going to share that all in like a couple of slides on Instagram and give a direct call to action, whether it's a question sticker, a link to schedule it if you have something like that. It could be a link if it's more like directing people to get on your email list, that at that point, like that's your call to action.
Right.
Then you can have a link to get on your email list. But every single time you're going to drop that question sticker box, drop that link, and say, drop your email here if you want to, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And every single week when you start repeating that, you're going to continually remind people who might have seen it last time when they were picking up their kids from school and quickly swiped away and put their phone in their purse. Like, we need to repeat these things to continually remind people how they can work with you, and not in a salesy, annoying way. And like, hey, by the way, this is how this works. Hey, by the way, this is how this works. It's only a couple of slides. And if you're sharing in your stories most days of the week, this is literally a blip. So
Yeah.
like, yes, it's going to be powerful, because as people continually see that, your stories are where your warm people are. So people are going to be more likely to opt in there versus like in the comments on a post or something. So that's why this is so important. But you just want to put it on repeat. And again, you maybe change it up based on the thing you're sharing, or the client result that you shared, or the win that you helped them get. And then you can kind of change the direction of it. But every single week you can almost have that, like, whatever the second and third slide is after the question that you share or the screenshot can be exactly the same every single week.
Yes. And again, don't look at this as being like, now you have to do this every week. Again, like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, the whole point of this is so that you can show up without overthinking. You know, speaking of Taylor Swift, her quote that everyone like went buck wild over on the podcast that she shared was about how like your energy is a luxury item, and like treat it like it's expensive. Like, not everyone can afford it, right? But you think about like the energy and like all of that. If you wake up every day thinking, I gotta post something and I don't know, like, I'll just do this. Well, I guess I'll try. Maybe I should go do this. No, We're done doing that. Okay. You are far too important and your energy is far too precious to be acting that way. So instead, pick one thing. And if you tell yourself, okay, I need to show up today and I'm going to share something that like I talked about with a client. And then you sit there and you're like, I don't know, I could do this, I could do that. I'm telling you, like, pick one and be like, I have 1 minute to hit record. Like, just do it and share it. And it can be, I mean, Chelsea, these don't have to be 10 minutes long. They shouldn't. We're talking spend 2 minutes on your story today. 2 minutes. And that will like literally move the needle in your business, get you connected with the people who love and trust you the most. And like, that is the thing. That's where the DMs happen. That's where the conversations happen. That's where the referrals happen. I mean, I'm telling you, this is like game-changing stuff if you allow it to be that way.
Here's another idea for you too. If that feels a little too like, I'm not sure how to do that yet, or I'm maybe not super consistent in my stories, I don't know what to do for that. Another idea you could do is a weekly Ask Me Anything. I don't know. I am obsessed with theming my days and theming things like this where I hold that because it's built in accountability. Yes, it clears my mind too. So I don't have to think about like, what should I do today? But it's built in accountability because if I put something in my stories, like Marketing Therapy Thursday, if I don't show up, which we have forgotten before, but mostly we are on it every single Thursday this entire year. It's now August 20 something. We have done it every single Thursday, minus maybe one or two. And one week we did it on a Saturday when we forgot. But that's like our go-to. That's what we know we're doing on every single Thursday. We have our same couple of B-roll slash photos that we use for it. We drop the question ticker box. We answer questions. So you could do a weekly Ask Me Anything. Start there. If you're not really getting questions, you don't really have clients right now, start with that. Tell people what they could ask you. Don't just leave it blank. No one's going to ask you anything. You have to give them some ideas to work with here. Maybe you ask a friend to ask you a question to get it going. You ask yourself a question.
Yeah, totally ask yourself a question. Yeah.
We really don't ask ourselves questions anymore, but I haven't.
Yeah,
I have at one point, we all start somewhere and that just shows people like, oh, I can ask that. That's a good idea. Or now that made me think of this other question that I have. So like it can be that, like something that you repeat every week in your stories. And it's basically to go deeper in your stories one of the days beyond just like, here's my coffee. And like, I have a whole strategy for that too, but we won't get into that today. One more story idea that I have for you that's very, very easy. So I shared this in last week's marketing plan. It's called the results-driven story strategy. Upload or take a photo for your Instagram stories, and even bonus points if you're in it, bonus points if it's from your media day, your B-roll day that you did this month, and then share something that you recently helped a client with or a question you answered. Like here's a quick example. I just listed I was helping my sellers get ready to list their house, and I shared this showing prep checklist with them, and they said it made their life so much easier, and they couldn't believe that they had this checklist, blah, blah, blah. That's it. And then on slide 2, you're going to say, do you want a copy? Comment checklist, and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Easy.
That's your weekly story strategy. And what is that going to do? It's going to build your email list. It's going to build your value. It's going to show your expertise.
Yes.
You're like these little drops of value every single week and reminding people like, hey, this is this thing she has that I can get for free. And that's going to give me some value on a key topic that I need to know if I'm going to sell.
Right.
And that's it.
And logistically, what we're saying is they'll say, yes, I want a copy. Then you'll say, great, what's your email address? I'll send it to you. You can do this all on ManyChat. You can set it all up. You could just do it manually too, especially thinking most of us, like on a good day, what if you get 20 responses? You can handle that manually. But if you get 5, that's great too. Okay, the next one is sending 1 to 2 emails a month. I will not go too deep into this. I put 1 to 2 emails a month. And then my first note was, don't even get me started. Because I feel like I've been on a rampage for the last several episodes you need to do with these emails. So guys, I'm going to go really,
I love this.
I'm going to go really gentle on you today. But here's the thing. Figure out a routine. Pick a day of the week that you're going to send these out. It can be like, please try for every other week. If not, at least start with once a month. Like, I'll give you some credit there. But like, these things are so powerful. I had a friend the other day talking to me about her business, and it had just kind of gotten a little slow and stagnant over the summer. And she was like, she's not a real estate agent. She sells shirts. But she was like, I'm just like a little frustrated. And I was like, okay, like, let's back up. Let's backpedal. Let's see what we can do here. And so it was so interesting because she said that she was able to get a babysitter one day. And she's like, I finally had time to like post on all my platforms, and I sent an email, and I sold almost 20 shirts. that same day. And I was like, isn't it so funny how like people want to buy from you. People love to spend their money on things that they love and all of that. Now, of course, real estate's completely different, right? But let's equate that. What would be like the equation of that? Like to me, that's like 20 people being like, oh my gosh, like that's right. She sells real estate. Or like, I forgot that house was listed. Or that's a funny story. And then what do?
Or they go to
tell
your
a friend?
Instagram.
Yes, go to your Instagram, or they reply to your email. And maybe one of them's like, hey, I actually did have a question about buying a house. Like, how do I get qualified? Like, what does that look like? That is the equivalent. But imagine, like, if you were sending it, then that's why we tell you to send, look at me here. Don't even get me started. If you're sending one email a month, you're only giving people 12 opportunities to have that with you. Where if you're sending it at least every other week, that's like 24 to 26, depending on which weeks you send, like times that you're getting in front of them and giving them an opportunity to raise their hand and say like, I'd like to participate in this, or I want to talk to you about this. That is just really powerful.
Well, I think it's a big commitment to send an email because you feel like it's a lot. Like, oh my gosh, I have to figure out how to use Flowdesk. I have to figure out how to set up my email list. I have to figure out what to say. A lot of the setup stuff is so simple. And once you do it, it's done. And then the sending of the email, we talked about this in a recent episode. It can be very like simple things like, this is my recommendation, or I tried this new restaurant, or like, and you tie in real estate in some way. You always use the content cocktail. But if you think about your inbox and like why we need to do this more than once a month is because when you go through like on an average day, all the junk email you get and take a day where you're so busy. Like we all have these days where we're just like, I cannot even breathe, much less look at my inbox right now and read an email. Like your email is going to get deleted. So just knowing that the more you send them, the more powerful they're going to be. In fact, I just got these emails from someone and she was selling like a little mini workshop thing. And she sent like 14 emails, I think, in the course of a few weeks. And I didn't open all of them, but I ended up opening one towards the end. And I was like, I ended up buying them the workshop. And I was like, this is why we need to send more emails. Now, you're not trying to get someone to buy a $300 workshop. You're getting them to buy a hundreds of thousands dollar house. So this isn't
Right.
going to work as quickly. But the point is when you're not continuously showing up, you're not going to stay top of mind. And yes, 12 emails is better than 0. So start somewhere. But if you can get at least twice a month to get in their inbox. And even if you just repurpose a post, which we're going to do an episode all about repurposing content, you could repurpose a post that you spent time on Instagram for an email. Now you're not like starting over. You're just kind of taking one thing and putting it in a new spot and shining it up a little bit differently. And now you have an email. So like we don't want to put all of our eggs in the social media basket and like hope someone sees our content. We want to have control over it with our email list. So
yeah.
Is that the exit soapbox email, which wasn't too bad.
I stayed really calm. It did help that I have a fly buzzing around me right now. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I keep being like, it's everywhere.
She's inhaling lavender.
Yeah.
You are dressed in lavender. So
I look like a literal flower today.
What is that song, Lady in White? Or is that a horror movie? I don't know. You're like the lady in lavender.
I don't know. I'm thinking Taylor Swift, like Lavender Haze, but yes,
Lavender Haze.
True. Lavender Haze. Okay, the last one. So again, keep in mind, we gave this list to our members, right? So the last thing that we told them to do was to attend our monthly meetings so they could be around like-minded agents. But for you, even if you're not a member, you can still do this in some way. There's so much power in being in a room with people who build you up, who are leading the way, who are trailblazing things with you, and like just to like bounce ideas off of or like see how they're doing things, learning each other's systems. Like it is so powerful. So we tell our members to do this by joining on our call every month because like it's even like more powerful than one-on-one coaching, right? Because everyone's getting a chance to ask a question and people are asking things that maybe you hadn't thought of, or they're sharing their wins that you're like, oh, I could totally do that too. You know, like, and everyone's kind of working with the same thing. Getting in community with other agents, even if it's at least one, have lunch with another agent in your office and like just hash things out, talk things out. Like it's all that community over competition. And if you can surround yourself with agents who either have gone before you and who get it or who are doing things alongside you, like it's just gonna, again, that headspace is gonna free up and you're not gonna feel quite so alone as you're as you're doing something that you've never done before, right? As you've never like built a big business before. So like let's do that, you know?
You could also even just do a Zoom call with someone. If you have like a good Instagram agent friend, like pick a time to meet on Zoom and go through this checklist. What's your signature post going to be? Yeah. What is your email going to be about this month? You could even come up with the same topic and both write your own email and be like, here's mine, here's mine. Like that, it just makes it so much more fun too. Like even doing this podcast, like with you makes the podcast more fun than just doing it solo where you're just talking to yourself, which I still think is fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm laughing because ironically, I'm pretty sure I'm doing a solo episode next week. So I'll make it fun, everybody. Okay. It'll be a good time.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yes. It's a game changer when you can get around people who get it and who can lift you up and bounce ideas, but also just to like stay encouraged. Especially, I know like we've heard from so many agents lately, like markets are frustrating right now, or, you know, sellers have unrealistic expectations, but then buyers think they can like lowball everything. And it's kind of, it's like mental gymnastics, keeping everyone like afloat, keeping everyone realistic, eyes on the prize, all of that. We don't want your marketing to also feel like mental gymnastics. We want it to feel simplified. And our hope is that this episode was able to make you go, okay, wait a minute. I think I can actually do these things. I think I can actually plug things in there. And of course, yes, our membership makes it way easier for you because we give you everything that you need to do all of these things. But also, if you are committed to doing this and if you're committed to making a change, like start somewhere, start here, start with this list and like walk through it. And if nothing else, you'll be able to look back even 30 days from now and be like, okay, if I did more in the last 30 days than what I did all summer, so now I'm going to keep the ball rolling and keep that snowball effect going.
How long do you think it would take someone to implement this checklist realistically?
A month.
Like the whole month?
Well, because it's not like you're posting everything on the same day, right? So I'm thinking
hours.
like, oh, yeah, no, to actually put it together. I mean, I think your signature post is probably going to be signature post and creating an email are probably going to be the most like time consuming things. And if that's the case, if that's really the truth, then what I would do is I would go back and look at content I've already shared before. And like, you could even like literally take a caption or a carousel post and put it in ChatGPT and be like, help me make this into an email. And then of course, change it a lot, but at least you have a starting point. Yeah. And then, you know, it's going to take a while, I think, to feel comfortable on stories and just talking to the camera. But guess what? You're not going to get more comfortable by talking about how uncomfortable it is. You get more comfortable by just doing the thing. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know, I sent my son to middle school and it was like one of the most emotional things in my life, even though he was totally fine. He was like, Mom, I'm fine. But I was like, oh, I'm just so like, oh, my heart.
Like worse than kindergarten?
Yeah, because now he has like big kid feelings. And now I'm like, oh, like this stuff that is going to like stick with him and like shape who he is as a person. You have so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
But this is what I'll tell you. Like, it's kind of like, you know, your kids have to experience things in order for them to become who they're supposed to be, right? They have to sometimes get cut from a team. They have to be not included for a party. They have to not be able to get their locker open. Like all of those things so that they're the kind of kid who sees a kid struggling to open their locker and they go, hey, man, I got you. Instead of just walking by like it's no big deal. Or so that they can be the kind of kid who includes the kids, right? Like there's only so much actual teaching and so much instruction they can consume before they have to experience that thing. And as hard as that is as a parent, but I know that it's true. It's also true for us as like agents, as business owners. We have to do the work. Like we have to go through this. We're huge fans of outsourcing. I mean, the lawn, the grocery shopping, the house
podcast
cleaning,
editing.
Let's just outsource. But you can't outsource putting your heart and your personality in your content. That doesn't mean you can't have a social media manager like help you get things posted, but like you can't outsource this because if you do, then you're not going through it. So that'd be like just like a kid only ever hearing, hey, you should be nice to kids, but never hearing or never experiencing what it's like when someone isn't nice to you. That's how they become the person that they're supposed to be. And the same is true. The same is true for you. So that's my marketing mom moment. We'll make that a new segment of the podcast.
I
Marketing
love
mom.
that. Marketing mom moment. Okay, starting next week, we will continue this
Right?
series.
We should add a little, like, what do they call it? Like a zinger, or what is it called? Like a da-da-da-da.
Oh, yes.
Marketing bomb moment.
Adrian, can you add a sound effect right here? Whenever we say marketing mom moment. Ta-ding!
Yes.
Whatever sound we
Make
choose.
it beautiful.
Yes.
I love it. This is so
Okay,
good.
well, this was such a good episode. I feel like weird saying that, but I love a checklist, even though I'm type B, because it helps my type B brain just like get reined in and not be overwhelmed by all the things. So I hope this was helpful to you. And even if you can only complete 80% of this checklist, you're still going to get a C.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And C's get degrees, baby.
You're still going to pass.
Yes.
In honor of back to school.
I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, very cool. Well, hey, we've got a lot of exciting things happening on our end that we're going to be sharing more and more in the weeks ahead. Get some really good episodes coming up about repurposing content, about simplifying your content even more, all sorts of good things. So keep listening. Hit that subscribe button. And I'm gonna say that in my my radio DJ voice. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll we'll talk again next week.
All right, we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Somebody cut me off.
I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.